I have the mayor in my dining room. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you, Andy?
Thank you for making time.
Yeah, no problem.
I have one big question.
Always. Yes, sir.
I have one big question for you.
Sure.
Who's running our city now that you're campaigning all the time?
Well, I will say I have completely fulfilled my statutory responsibilities still as mayor. Let me give you a great example, Andy, right? So we had a knock party the other night where we got a lot of friends together and knocked a bunch of doors in the city of Hillsdale. It was scheduled for last Thursday at 6 o'clock. Well, I forgot that I had double booked myself, and the other thing that I had going on was this homeless task force, which I founded, back before the whole COVID thing started, back in the wintertime when the homeless seems to be at the forefront of the issues in the wintertime because that's when we see them the most. Yeah, I had double booked myself, and one of the members of the homeless task force reached out to me and they said, well, I guess we're canceling the homeless task force meeting because you have a campaign event. And I thought about it for a second, and of course this campaign's very important to me, but I forewent my campaign event so I could go to the homeless task force. And everybody that went out and knocked doors for me understood, but I haven't missed a single city council meeting. I haven't missed a single committee meeting.
And you have a job, and you have kids. I mean,
sir.
You told me you were busy. I guess so.
Yes, sir.
It's got to be crazy right now, but you can see the finish line, right?
Yeah. Less than 1 week now. We're right there. We're at the 100-yard dash. We're sprinting. So.
Adam, I wondered, obviously you've had a good run as the mayor of Hillsdale. Why this House seat? Why did you decide to put your hat in the ring for this?
Well, when people ask me that, I always like to tell them, there's such a thing as sticking around local politics for too long. Yeah. And that's a joke, really. But I talked to a good friend of mine before I announced, and he had asked me if I was going to throw my hat in the ring. This is when I was batting around the idea. And I said, I don't know. Maybe I'll do another term as mayor. And this guy too. I won't name his name, but you might know by my impression. He said, Adam, there's such a thing as hanging around local politics for too long. So if this is something you want to do, you should do it now. And basically the point that he was trying to make was when you have these local positions over time, that with the decisions you make, you always upset a certain number of people.
Inevitable, right?
And you always upset everybody at least once.
Right.
And they don't care if you make them happy 9 times out of 10 times, but they remember that one time that you made that decision they didn't like. So, but no, really, I decided to run for this position, one, because Eric was termed out and it was open, and the other was because I interact with the state all the time on all sorts of issues, and I can tell you there is nothing more detrimental to running a decent city than the state of Michigan. The Department of Environmental Quality, MDOT, all their alphabet agencies, all their unfunded mandates, all the things that they pass, every time they balance the budget on the backs of the municipalities. And that's the big reason I'm running, is because I don't feel like local government has a voice at the state level.
That kind of dovetails into my next question, which was, you've done this stint as mayor of Hillsdale. How has that job maybe helped to prepare you for a state office if you are elected?
Well, it's helped me to prepare in a number of ways. First of all, like I was just saying, Andy, I've gotten to see what the interaction between local government and state government is, and it is not good. It is not good in any way, sir. And, the way I've got a degree in politics, and the way that I was taught politics work, and the way that I know politics work because I've studied the founding so much, is it's a bottom-up system. The decisions, the people who have the most power are supposed to be the people. And then the people who are answerable to them are the local politicians. And most decisions should be made at the local level. I truly believe that. I think that the state of Michigan has taken on way too much authority and and they've put so much on their plate that they're not good at any of it. And I would really like to see state government streamlined to focus on the really big issues like infrastructure, like public safety, like education. Those issues are kind of linchpin issues where you can look at those particular issues and see what the health of a state looks like. And I think if you look at Michigan, we are most certainly not a healthy state.
Adam Stockford, the mayor of Hillsdale, joins us. He's a candidate for the 58th District House seat. We appreciate him dropping by on a busy campaign day. The debate. I thought it was really fun. Honestly, it was one of the more entertaining debates that I've seen. It got contentious at times and fiery.
Sure.
And I thought that the voters who watched it got to see how you guys react under pressure at times and all of that. I had Andy Weldon was in this morning, and he says, I'm not a debater. That's not what I'm about. I'm about the meetings and the job. And he did have shorter answers as the thing went along.
Sure.
Darren came in, just all guns blazing and a bombastic performance. And you kind of agreed, I thought, with a lot of the things that Darren had to say. As you look at the four candidates, as you come out of that debate, what sets you apart? That you guys agree on so much.
Yeah.
What kind of sets you apart from the field?
Well, I think I strongly believe that that I thought we had the best performance at the debate, and I think that it was clear that our candidacy is the candidacy that knows the most about the issues, that actually has practical, attainable ways to address the issues. The funny thing is, Andy, and it's unfortunate for the residents of Michigan, but campaigning and holding office are two very separate things.
Right.
And sometimes somebody's not good at campaigning and they'd be a great office holder. And then other times somebody, is terrible or is really good at campaigning, but when they got in office, they would be terrible.
Right.
What I hate to see this campaign devolve into what national politics has devolved to, where you're just talking about a couple, kind of hoorah issues that get everybody's attention. Something like abortion, which is a very important issue to people in Hillsdale County. Well, there was 4 or 5 questions about it, and I thought when they first went and asked all the candidates, "Are you pro-life or pro-choice?" I thought, anybody that says they're pro-life, that pretty much sums up what their position is on it. And I don't mean to denigrate that that's not an extremely, extremely important issue in the state of Michigan. But as was said at the debate, the fact of the matter is, until Roe versus Wade is overturned, then there's absolutely barely anything you can do about it at the state level. So if we want to focus our energies on combating that, let's do that at the federal level. But at the state level, I want to talk about things that affect my friends and neighbors every single day. I want to talk about their jobs. I want to talk about the conditions of their streets. I want to talk about their safety. I want to talk about how their kids are being educated. Are they going back to school in the fall? I want to talk about all those things that we have to face every single day.
So to kind of sum it up, you felt you performed well in the debate, and I think a lot of other people did too. And overall, do you think it was useful for the voters?
Oh, absolutely. I think it was very useful for the voters. I wish we would have had more than one of them. And I've never seen one like that before in Hillsdale County. I'm sure there has been one, but it's been a long time. The last few times we've had events like that, they've been candidate forums where they'll give each candidate, here's 3 minutes to introduce yourself to the audience. Yeah. And you just can't get a good feel for somebody.
I asked Darren and Andy this, and I don't think I'm going to get a chance to talk with Andrew for this series of questionings, but he took a lot of heat for his campaign financing, and in particular his commercials and his mailings. And I think you and Darren in particular pointed out that he was taking dark money or whatever that is. So I asked Darren and I asked Andy, how is your campaign being financed? Do you have any outside money coming in?
No, sir.
And just talk a little bit about that issue, if you would.
My campaign has come 100% from donations from individuals. And we didn't raise a huge amount of money. And I made this point in Coldwater yesterday because we had a meet and greet in Coldwater too. I have not taken a single endorsement from any organization. And some people, I guess, could sit back and look at that like, well, that means you're not a good candidate. Well, I'll tell you, I stopped filling. They send you questionnaires every week. You get dozens of them when you run for this office. Sometimes they send you the questionnaires with the answers to them, which I think is very, very disingenuous. Once I saw that, I was just completely disgusted with state politics at the local level or at the state level, that some group would send you a questionnaire and then a few days later you'd get the answer to the questionnaire. And it really opened my eyes. But the fact of the matter is, I filled out a couple questionnaires at the beginning of this, way back in March or April, and after that I said, I am done with questionnaires. I do not give a damn what the United Jewish Dentists of Michigan care about my candidacy. That's not why I'm running. So we didn't get any endorsements, and I'm proud of that, because we are we funded our campaign 100% with almost entirely money from Hillsdale and Branch County. I did get a couple donations from friends who live in the state of Michigan but don't live in Hillsdale County, but they're longtime friends. They're not Lansing lobbyists, and they're not, connected to any special interests. They just are friends of mine, so they wanted to donate to the campaign.
Is Andrew Fink compromised in his ability to be our representative and not be beholden? Do you think that's overblown, or do you think that's really a problem for him?
I think, how do I answer this diplomatically? Yes, I think Andrew's compromised. I think Andrew hasn't lived in this district long. I think, 8 months ago, nobody knew his name. And I think, essentially campaigns are sales. You have to sell yourself to the voters. And I know that when I've worked in sales a lot, and I know that you learn in sales that people have to see a product or a commercial or a name 10, 12 times before they even start to pay attention to the name. And I think that was the strategy from the get-go, is that they would do that campaign would do absolutely whatever possible to just pound his name out to the public. Now everybody knows the guy's name. How do you live in a community for just a couple years and have the name recognition of people who have had 50, 60-year ties to the community? But yes, I do think Andrew's campaign's compromised. I do think Citizens for Energizing Michigan's Economy do not spend the amount of money on those sorts of candidates unless they think strongly that they're going to get something in return for their money. Otherwise, why would you spend that sort of money? And I also think that, there's a couple candidates in this race that are wild cards that would be Darren and myself that maybe lobbyists would not want to see in Lansing, because they want people who are going to play the game that is being played right now in Lansing. Mm-hmm. They don't want people that are going to come up there and say, no, I need to talk to the voters before I make this decision.
So you're not going to go try to fit in, Adam?
No. You know what? I didn't try to fit in when I got on city council, but I got a majority of council behind me on almost every single issue. And so, I think that's a testament to not only being independent, but being a leader. And I think that's the one thing that we have in this race that no other candidate has, is we've got a proven record of leadership. And I think that when I go to I keep saying we, I'm sorry, it's a campaign thing, because there's other people that are helping me.
Sure.
And they're all local people. But I think we've got a proven record of leadership, and I don't think another candidacy has that.
And to be fair to Andrew, we have invited him to come and talk about this. He has reached out to me a couple of times. I don't think he's going to have time to do an interview, but in fairness to him, we certainly reached out to him and gave him an opportunity to respond to this. You said that you can't make everybody happy in politics.
Yeah.
And with coronavirus, I don't think anybody's happy. And you've had to make some tough decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the Hillsdale College graduation, with the parade for the 4th of July, you guys decided to allow, by you guys, I mean you and the council, to go ahead and allow those events. There were people from the health department that were not happy.
Yes.
I've talked to people in town that were not happy about it.
I know.
They felt like having all of those thousands of people come to our community for that graduation was a risk. And yet you've been strong with this and took a side, and I think you were decisive about it. How did you make that decision, and why do you think it was the right call?
I think it was the right call because, as I've repeatedly said, through this, and I want to make one thing clear. WILX ran a story a couple weeks ago where they basically quoted me as saying, yeah, we could have a COVID outbreak, but I don't care. Right. And that they completely cherry-picked my comments and edited it. You can, if you watch the video, you can see it was cleverly edited to make it sound like I said something that I wasn't saying. But the point I was trying to make was that I don't think that it's local government, state government, or federal government, or anybody's job to regulate people's health. I think it is entirely up to each person, individual responsibility on how they want to proceed with keeping themselves healthy and keeping themselves hygienic. There's not a law that you have to wash your hands. I would suggest everybody does it. But some of these laws some of these executive orders that they are passing are akin to making a law that you have to wash your hands. So, and anything that gives people more freedom, to me, is probably good policy. And with freedom comes responsibility. Now, as we've seen now a couple weeks past the graduation, there isn't a single COVID case that they can connect to that graduation. Just like the parade, there was not a single COVID case that they could connect to that parade. So not only do I feel like it wasn't an irresponsible decision, I feel like it was the right decision. And I think that since April, with everything I've said from the COVID people, everything I've heard is, well, you guys will pay in 2 weeks. You'll see your streets will be filled with the dead, and City Hall will be on fire, and buildings will crumble and the earth will shake. And I haven't seen it yet. And we had 2,000 people at Hillsdale College, and like I said, 2 weeks later, they still don't have a single positive COVID case as a result of that. So the numbers don't make sense to me. None of it looks right. Our deaths are almost non-existent in the state of Michigan as a result of COVID now. They've gone down since they peaked in late April. They've gone down consistently. Testing's gone up, and positive cases have gone up, but it just doesn't. I feel like they've tried this every year for the past several, 6-7 years. They've tried this. It was H1N1 and Ebola, and they keep throwing this at us. The media does, and whoever else. And I feel like we just bit this time. They've been throwing the hook in the water for a long time, and this time we actually bit at it. So,
Adam Stockford is the mayor of Hillsdale. He is a candidate for the 58th District House seat. I know you're busy, so I'll get you out of here in a couple of more questions.
That's good.
You've been the mayor for a while. What's your proudest accomplishment as you look back?
That's a really good question, Andy. I'd like to say that it was the amount of street work that we were able to do in 2019. We did 13 miles in the city, and that wasn't total reconstruction. 13 miles. That was maintenance. That was chip seal. It was a number of options that should have been on the table for years, but council was consistently saying, and city administration was consistently saying, well, we can't do chip seal in the city. We can't do fog seal in the city. So really, I think, it's hard to find something that's more impressive than working on a quarter of your streets in 1 year, whether that's a big city or a small city. So I'm very proud of that.
Can you get Linwood done?
Hopefully.
How about
eventually.
Lost My Car, man?
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. There's some streets in the city that are in terrible conditions.
And that predated your run as the mayor.
Oh my gosh,
way,
so. This is a generational problem. This is 3-4 generations deep into neglect. So
you said you've been pretty candid on your social media. I've been impressed with the fact that you do want to take accountability when mistakes are made. Do you have any decisions that you've made since you've been the mayor that you wish you could have back? Maybe didn't go exactly like you thought it would go?
Yeah, sure. I just a couple weeks ago, I would say, we had a vote on where to put our finances, our city accounts. And for the past 2 decades, we've had the city account with Southern Michigan Bank and Trust, and we've had the BPU account with County National Bank. Now we we put out a request for services to look at that again, and what the numbers came back was that strictly looking at the numbers, if we put both of our accounts into Southern Michigan Bank and Trust, then we would have a better bang for our buck. And of course, I went up there completely prepared to vote no, because what I thought was, you can put dollar amount on what County National Bank does for the city of Hillsdale. You really can't. Just like you can't put a dollar amount on what Market House does for the city of Hillsdale, what Brett Boyd does. The County National Bank is there with any event. They're always a sponsor. They employ over 100 locals. They've got their main branch office in the city of Hillsdale, and they're one of those institutions that where would the city of Hillsdale be without County National Bank? So I went up there with full intention to vote against putting our money into Southern Michigan Bank and Trust, all of it, not what was already there, which was the city accounts. And we went up there, and the city administration, they made their statements about it, and basically, even one person I respected very much was like, look, we're in a tough spot with this COVID. We've lost a lot of revenue. We should be only looking at dollars and cents right now. Mm-hmm. And it rang very true with me. And when it came time to vote, I voted. And then within an hour, I immediately regretted my decision. I was like, and I still regret my decision.
Those are decisions. Those are decisions where it's not an easy right answer, though, right? I mean, that's what leadership is about. You've got to make tough calls, and sometimes it's not a black and white decision.
That's right. Exactly. Very true.
Adam, the campaign part. Do you enjoy the campaign? Have you had fun during this process, or has it been stressful for you?
Our campaign has been cursed from the get-go, Andy. We lost 3 campaign managers. The last one was a college student that was left home, that had to stay home because the college got shut down on spring break, and then he never came back. He just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. So we lost 3 campaign managers. Just about anything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. It seems like it's been extremely stressful on me, of course, but it's also been extremely stressful on my family, who, I haven't been there for my kids. I have not been a good family man through this. And I know it's not me, it's the other candidates too, because how could you possibly balance both? Of course, maybe with the exception of Darren, who doesn't have a family. So, I mean, he doesn't have children, and I didn't mean he didn't have a family. He's got people that loves him. But, at least with the case of Andrew Fink and I, we've got small kids at home still. And my campaign doesn't have any money to pay staffers or people to go out and work for me. So all of the people that have been working for me has been 100% volunteer. And they're all grown-ups that have families and have kids and have jobs. So they've only been able to devote so much of their time. Do I feel... I enjoy a certain aspect of campaigning. I like getting out and talking to people. This is a big, huge, sprawling district. I've got to see lots of corners of it that I never saw. Living here my whole life, there's still places in this district that I never saw before. That was exciting. Meeting new friends, learning about what's important to people, which in this day and age, it's all about the shutdown, really. That seems to be the big issue with all of the residents in both districts. But I can't say I've especially enjoyed this campaign this time around. It's been plagued with a number of problems, and we're still going to fight it out till the end. And I still think we're going to do good. I do. I think our record speaks for itself, and I think I'm hearing the same thing in Branch County as I am in Hillsdale County, that they know who we are, they know what we've done.
Next Tuesday, people are going to vote. The ones that didn't already absentee are going to go vote.
Yeah.
What are you going to do Tuesday night? I've asked all the guys. Do you have a big party planned or anything like that?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. I will be with a few select close friends. I might even go to bed early and wait till the morning to catch the results, which is typical. This is my 4th election, so... I ran for clerk twice. I lost 2 elections before I ever won election. Excuse me, this is my 5th election. I ran for clerk twice and lost both times. I ran for city council in 1, ran for mayor in 1. So this is my 5th election. So once Tuesday comes, it's written in stone. There's nothing you can do to change it at that point. And I really think I want to go to bed early on Tuesday night and sleep for about 24 hours, because I haven't got more than 4 or 5 hours a night for the past several weeks. And at that point, it is what it is.
Yep.
But I think we're going to do good. I do. I think we're going to do very well.
Well, Adam, I know you are incredibly busy. I appreciate you making a few minutes for us, and all the best with the election, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, Andy.